It's Friday, October 13th. What better time to rank the Friday the 13th franchise? Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a good one today. I'm the Movie Ranker, and today I'm going to be ranking all 12 Friday the 13th films from worst to best. This is a personal favorite franchise of mine, especially in horror. Out of the big three, if we're talking all movies, I'm definitely picking Friday the 13th. Jason's my boy. So before we get into this, make sure you drop your rankings down in the comment section below. We'll have a great discussion. Let's not waste any more time. Let's dive right in. So kicking things off, in last place at number 12, I have to go with Jason Goes to Hell. This movie has a lot of problems. The story and mythology that they added just is so whack for being the 9th entry in a franchise. And you're going to bring up all this stuff we never knew about before, like Jason being a deadite and this little evil worm thing that can go from body to body. It's just too much. Like I said, especially for this 9th entry, it does not feel like a Friday the 13th film at all. And all the scenes where Jason Voorhees is actually in it, I don't like his look. I don't like his performance by Kane Hodder. He has that like meatball look. He's grunting and he mostly does like wrestling moves in the final act when he's fighting. I hate it. I do not like it one bit. We do get a lot of gruesome kills in here. The kills are awesome. Definitely the highlight of the film, especially that tent scene kill with the girl getting the pole right through here and ripped up. So intense. One of the best kills in the franchise. But kills do not save your movie. I just find the story to be very dumb. It would have been a little bit better if we would have seen when Jason was jumping body to body, if the viewers would have still seen Jason at least. Shout out to Jason Knight from Backtrack Cinema for coming up with that. And I think that's a great idea, but they didn't do that. We're just seeing random people going around killing everyone. This movie's just bad, man. It feels amateur with its editing and that. They couldn't even spell Voorhees right on the sign. It's just awful. The ending is kick-ass though, when all the things are coming up, grabbing Jason, bringing him to hell, and we get that awesome final shot of Freddy's glove coming up and taking the mask. That's great, but this movie, not so great. Up next at number 11, I'm picking Jason X. Now, if you're going into this expecting a serious Friday the 13th movie, look away, because this is silly as shit, incredibly goofy. Plays out a little bit more like a parody of Friday the 13th than the actual franchise, right? The tone is just way off, and I really wish they would have took this one seriously, because Jason in space could have been cool, him killing everybody on the spaceship. It still has its moments, like I still have fun with it as a guilty pleasure, as a bad movie, but yeah, there's so many problems here. For starters, Jason, his look, they spent no effort trying to make him look cool. It just looks like a regular person, like regular skin and everything. His look is awful. And then when he becomes Uber Jason, I think that look is also ridiculous. But we do get some fun characters in here. Quite a bit of kills. The character Janessa, I think her name is. I love her. There's one scene where she gets sucked out of a little hole, and before she gets sucked out, she's like, this sucks on so many levels. And right there, that's what I love about this movie. It knows it's a bad movie. The actress and the characters know that it's bad, and they're kind of going along with it. And that's why it kind of works. I also love the whole holographic room. Especially that one scene where they make it look like it's Crystal Lake back in 1980, and Jason's walking in and those girls are like, want to smoke some pot and have premature sex? It's just so funny, hilarious. But yeah, not a good slasher movie. I just wish it would have took itself a little bit more seriously. Up next at number 10, I got Jason Takes Manhattan. A lot of people hate this movie, but I actually enjoy it. From this point on, I give all these movies positive ratings. It's just Jason Goes to Hell and Jason X that I unfortunately can't give a positive rating to. But this one, it has its flaws, but I'm highly entertained by it. A lot of people hate that it takes till the end of the movie to get to Manhattan. That doesn't bother me. I like the whole boat ride. And I think if they would have just made a movie and market it as Jason going on this cruise, I think it would have been something that was really cool, you know? I also love the look of Jason in this one. He has like that nicotine looking mask. He's drenched in like slime almost. I just love the black clothes and everything. And obviously, Kane Hodder does a great job in the performance with his heavy breathing and stuff. We get some pretty cool kills in here too. Julius getting his head punched off. The sauna kill, but my favorite being Kelly Hughes' character, Eva, getting choked on the dance floor, and he just smashes down so hard. And when we do get to Manhattan, it is pretty damn excellent. We get that great shot of Jason in Times Square, which is one of the coolest shots of the franchise. Of course, we also got Darkest Side of the Night. Great song to open up this movie and close it with. The ending is goofy, I admit, in the sewer, and Jason's like clay and melting and stuff, and all the times that our main girl, Rennie, every time she sees Jason's as a hallucination, as like a little kid, that stuff's stupid too. But for the most part, I really enjoy this movie more than the regular person, and it kind of pains me to have it this low on my ranking. Up next, at number 9, I got my first hot take, Friday the 13th, the remake from 2009. A lot of people love this movie. It's either at the top of people's lists or at the bottom. I'm more near the bottom, but like I said, I don't hate this film. I still give it a positive rating. I just found that over the years on rewatch, I'm just becoming less of a fan. It's just not as rewatchable as maybe these other entries. But I do like that it's a little bit more grounded, takes itself seriously. Jason's like a hunter in this one, played by Derek Mears, and he's really intimidating, really big. He's running at you. It's crazy. I think the biggest problem this movie has, though, is that it kind of blows its load in the first 20 minutes. The intro is just so intense, so good. You get some great kills, really intimidating Jason, and then the movie never really reaches that point again in the film. It also looks a little bit too polished for my Friday the 13th tastes. It's well directed. It looks nice as a movie, but as a Friday 13th movie, I like it to be a little more gritty, a little more dirty, you know what I mean? Like a lot of the 80s movies had. And the whole final act, I always found a little bit underwhelming. Once we get out of the tunnels and to the barn where they kill Jason, or attempt to, I always found it was a little bit weak. There should have been more there. But overall, still a really fun film with stupendous characters. You know what I mean if you've seen the film. Yeah, the characters are kind of generic to me. Not a big fan of them, but they're okay, I guess. And the kills are pretty cool. I do like that one kill where he kills the chick on the dock, goes right through her head, and he like lifts her body up with the machete. Really cool kill. But yeah, pretty good movie, just not one that I'm putting on all that often. Up next, at number 8, I got Friday the 13th Part 7, The New Blood. Basically, Carrie versus Jason, which is funny watching this right after doing my Carrie ranking, right? I'm like, it's pretty cool. And that aspect of the film is clever. It's original, something different that we haven't seen before. And Tina makes for a great final girl, by the way. Her versus Jason in the final act is just so amazing to watch, from her trying to electrocute him, to drown him, to catch him on fire. Great fire stunt, by the way, too. And Kane Hodder, this is his best version of Jason, performance-wise and his looks. Man, they really did a good job on the looks of Jason. You really got all the marks he got from every movie up to this date. You see parts of his cheekbone sticking out and his spine and everything. It's just such good attention to detail here, which a lot of these movies seem to miss. Unfortunately, the MPAA butchered the hell out of this movie. We will never probably see the original cut of this, and it's unfortunate because I guess the kills were pretty brutal and great, but we don't get to see any of that here. They're all cut away, and yeah, they butchered the movie basically. And the characters here are, I'd say, the most forgettable out of the whole franchise, aside from the main ones like Tina, Bad News Cruz, and her mom. Everybody else, even Nick and Melissa, they're probably the bigger standouts for side characters, but everyone else is just terrible. They're non-existent almost. I can't tell you any of their names, and I've seen this movie multiple times. And can we talk about that ending? The way Jason is defeated is the worst in the franchise as well. Oh my god, she summons her dad out of the water, who died like 20 years before. It's so ridiculous. And he comes up just with a little bit of mud on him to haul Jason down into the water. They could have at least made him like a rotten corpse come up. That would have been really cool, but Unfortunately, we didn't get that. This is an okay entry. I have fun watching it, but it's not great. Up next at number 7, I got Friday Part 5, A New Beginning. Now, this is the definition of a guilty pleasure. On its surface, this movie's terrible. When I first seen it, I didn't care for it at all. I thought it was silly. I thought it was just not very well made. But over the years, this is actually the one that gets better on every rewatch. And I hear a lot of people talking about that, how it keeps moving up higher and higher on their list over the years. And I think that's due to fun characters. I enjoy mostly all these characters. Maybe my least favorite version of Tommy, with his kung fu and weird, I don't know, weird persona he has. But everybody else is awesome. We got the two hillbillies next door. All the patients are all fun, especially Violet with her dance moves. We get Pam as our final girl. She's okay, but I really like Reggie the Reckless, who hangs out with her all the time, the little kid. He's fun. And just a lot of memorable moments in here, whether we're talking about the outhouse kill where he's singing and all the enchilada stuff. That's a lot of fun. Like I said, Violet's dance moves. We get Deborah Voorhees here and her melons, which is nice. Yeah, this movie's very sleazy. Directed by a porn director, believe it or not. And I guess he was focusing more on the sleaze than anything else. And you can kind of tell. But yeah, she gets a great kill with the, forget what, the garden shears or whatever, punching her nose up here. And her boyfriend getting the belt around the eyes and tighten behind the tree and the blood coming out. Looks awesome. Definitely the two standout kills for me in this franchise. Not franchise, in this movie, I should say. The rest, they're not the greatest kills. The MPAA, again, kind of butchered them, but we get a lot of them. We get like 20 some kills in here. There's so many. There's a lot of people that feel like they're filler, like they're just there to die. But again, this is a pretty fun, goofy movie, even though the twist doesn't really work with Roy Burns being the killer. And it doesn't make sense when he's like busting through doors like Jason, but you find out that he's not really supernatural at all. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense, and there was just not enough story there to make sense with Roy Burns being the killer, the ambulance driver, you know? Like, you know your movie's silly when everything starts over a chocolate bar. One patient kills the other one because he's annoyed at him, asking him if he wants some chocolate, and he ends up like chopping him up. You know it's ridiculous when, but if you stop picking apart the movie like a critic and just watch it as entertainment value, you will have a lot of fun with this one. Coming in at number 6, I have Freddy vs. Jason. Now, I kind of have a soft spot for this film. You know, I seen it when it came out, 12 or 13, and it kind of made me fall in love with the franchise. I have seen part 9 and 3 before this, but I just thought they were okay or whatnot. I wasn't really thinking back on them, but after watching this, I want to watch them all. Fun movie. Not a great movie, but what versus movie is great. I think for what they had, they did a pretty good job. For starters, I love the story, like how Freddy uses Jason to put fear back on Elm Street again by killing a bunch of people, making them think it might be Freddy doing it. And I like that Jason takes it too far and he doesn't know when to stop, and that pisses off Freddy, which leads to this big battle at the end. A lot of people complain that when Freddy is in the nightmare world with Jason and he turns Jason into like a little boy and he's scared of water, people like, Jason's not scared of water, but this is a nightmare, and I think he's tapping into his more deeper thoughts in that, his childhood trauma. So that makes sense to me. I always understood that. And when we get out of the nightmare world and just in the regular world, we get so much of a badass fight between these two icons. It almost feels like a heavyweight championship fight, which gets very bloody by the end when they're on the docks. Our characters are just kind of okay here. Our main lead, Laurie, is not the greatest. She's not my favorite final girl for sure, but she's pretty to look at. Freddy, played by Robert Englund, the great Robert Englund. I'm glad that he came back for this one. He is awesome. I wouldn't change anything about him aside from maybe giving him a few more kills. He only gets one in this entire film. Jason takes the rest. But yeah, he's great with his dialogue and everything, and just he completely sells the role, right? Just like always. Jason, on the other hand, not a fan of this version of Jason. He's more like a Frankenstein, Black Orc type character. I just don't like his build, don't like how slow he is. His machete has turned into a sword by this point. He wears like this long jacket. I just never liked the look of him or how slow in that he is. But I do like how menacing he is and how he kills a lot of people in here. A fun movie, not one that I would call great, but like I said, I have a soft spot for it, and it is a whole lot of fun. Making my way to my top 5, I have to give it to the original Friday the 13th. Now, how many franchises do you put the original not in first place or not in second? No, way down in fifth. And some people have it even lower than that. It's one of the few that are like that. There's not many other franchises. Perhaps Mission Impossible. Not a lot of people have that original at the top, but especially for horror, it's rare. But yeah, this is a fun, simple movie, a whodunit slasher movie with amazing kills. Tom Savini came in here and he blew everybody away. You got that great Kevin Bacon kill with the arrow through the throat, and you get Marcy, I think her name is, kill with the axe to the head. So good, man. That's definitely the highlight of this movie. Also the atmosphere, it definitely feels like a horror movie. It's raining all the time, it's creepy, great cinematography with the woods and everything in the lake. I like the background, the story of how this boy drowned. The whole twist of it being Pamela Voorhees is kind of silly. It's not written very well, I suppose. There's a few red herrings here, but they all kind of get killed off pretty quickly. And she comes out of nowhere at the end. We don't even know who she is, and she's like, "It was me," and it's like really weird twist that doesn't exactly land. But Betsy Palmer playing Pamela Voorhees, she should have got an Oscar for this. She's so good in her performance. How she starts off by talking regular and she kind of starts to snap when she starts talking about her boy Jason and how he drowned, and it's almost as if she has split personality disorder or like schizophrenia or something from her trauma, and I love it. And yeah, she gives a hell of a performance. We had a great decapitation kill at the end to kick things off, to end things, I should say. And yeah, and I enjoy these characters. A lot of people say they're throwaway. I think Alice isn't the strongest final girl, but she's fine, serviceable in the role. But I love everybody else. I love Kevin Bacon's character. I love Brenda. I think she was final girl material. She should have been the final girl. Very smart, and just the way she was willing to help. She hears like cries outside at night, and she was going out to investigate in the rain. And she's just really caring, I suppose. And of course, that whole ending is freaking bonkers. The jump scare ending with Alice in the boat. You think they're safe. The nice music, the cops showing up, and bam, Jason comes out of nowhere. So scary. One of the best jump scares of all time. A pretty good film, in my opinion. I like it better, I think, than most people, but there's still movies better on this list. Making our way into the heavy hitters at number 4, I got Friday the 13th. Part 3, the 3D one. Now, this movie may move a little slower than some. The first half is pretty uneventful. There's not a whole lot of kills, not a whole lot of Jason action, but I still enjoy these characters interacting with like the biker gang and getting in trouble with them and everything, and just kind of exploring the barn and whatnot. But when Jason does come into play, he don't mess around. He gets his mask and he starts killing. And it's kind of like back to back to back, killing all these people until it's just Chris Higgins left, one of my favorite final girls, and she's a fighter, a survivalist. She fights back multiple times, coming at him with the knife, getting him in the leg, waiting for him outside and beating him with the log, making their way to the barn, eventually hanging him and putting an axe right in his head. She's a fighter, and I love that. And she obviously looks beautiful too. And yeah, she's great in this film. And the whole final act in here, after that little final act, when we get a real ending where she has her little dream moment waking up in the boat, one of the creepiest moments in the franchise, where you see Jason like scratching at the window and coming out running full tilt at her. That is awesome. Unlike the little stupid jump scare of Pamela coming out of the water, that was stupid and silly. They're trying to copy part 1 and 2 with the jump scares, but it just didn't work this time. But everything else is great. The 3D effects, it's more of a gimmick here. I'm not a fan. It kind of, I don't like the cinematography because of it. With all these zoom in shots and that, it doesn't look great, okay? And if you wear your 3D glasses, you're probably going to end up sick because it makes you dizzy and everything. But Richard Brooker as Jason is freaking scary as hell. Definitely one of the best ones. He's just so big and bulky. Like, this man coming at you, you would have no chance. And like I said earlier, he gets his iconic hockey mask in this one too, so it's hard not to love part 3. Reaching our top three, at number three, I have Friday Part 2. Now, this was always a personal favorite of mine. Went down a little bit over the years, but not much. I love Sackhead Jason. I think this is a cool, unique look for him. Maybe not as iconic as the hockey mask, but I think probably creepier. This freaking hillbilly looking guy coming with a pillowcase on his head running at you. Ooh, pretty scary stuff. I feel like they did a better job with the characters. They're even more likable than the first film, with Vicky and Mark in the wheelchair, and of course Ginny, our final girl, one of the best final girls in the franchise. I love how she fights back against Jason at the end, not physically but mentally, using her child psychology on him, pretending to be his mother. And it almost wins at the end, but he kind of discovers what's going on. But I thought that was just so clever how she's actually using some skills on him. I do admit that it kind of undoes the story of the first movie because it doesn't really make much sense if Jason was alive the whole time, right? But I can't fault it because I love the character so much that I'm glad they kind of went into this direction and we got all these movies with this iconic killer, right? And again, with the final jump scare, I think they do a really good job with this. Maybe not as effective as the original film, but I think it might be creepier with this long-haired bearded guy coming through the window when you expect him to come through the door. Very, very well shot and just creepy as hell. Reaching my top two, at number two, I have Friday the 13th, Part 4, The Final Chapter. And spoiler alert, this is not the final chapter. If you've been paying attention, there was a whole another 8 movies after this. But, man, it could have ended here. It's such a good way to go out. We got a young Tommy Jarvis, played by Corey Feldman. Does such a great job. He captures that essence of being a little kid. I love him, and I love his sister Trish. And I like how we got like this whole family, the Jarvises on one side, and across the street we still got our teens, our horny teens are doing drugs and that, and they're kind of cool because they're just there to get killed, right? But we still have this main family to focus on and to really root for. We got Tom Savini back on effects here. Since they let him kill Jason off, he was willing to come back, and man, the kills, best of the franchise if I'm just talking about films. This one has so many memorable kills. Axel, my favorite kill of the whole franchise, when he twists his head after slicing it. Oh, it looks crazy, like he's wringing out a towel or something. And, Crispin Glover doing his crazy dance in here, but then eventually getting the meat cleaver to the face. Another great kill. Oh, there's not much wrong with this movie. Jason is menacing. I love his look. You got the axe mark from Part 3 and a little bit of blood on there, and just the way he runs at his victims in that. This is probably the best version of Jason we're ever going to see. We get a really exciting third act with Jason chasing Trish around and them trying to defeat him. Eventually Tommy using mental child psychology type of stuff on him, just like Ginny, and making him think that he is baby Jason or kid Jason, right? Making Jason turn around just enough to get his mask off and to start chopping him up with the machete. I love how he falls on the machete and you see like his head kind of move. Great practical effects. I can't praise them enough. I'm so happy Tom Savini came back for this one to kill off his monster that he created. And it's just a friggin' really good slasher. Probably the best slasher in the franchise, if I was just rating them that way. The only thing that keeps this from being in first place for me is I love the movie that I put in first place more. And this one has a little bit of editing issues. Like one part, Jason's downstairs in the kitchen, kills someone. Next second, he's upstairs. And then the next scene, it shows him back in the kitchen as if he never left. And like the newspaper having Jason's picture in there is like, where did someone take a picture of him? And this is only 2 days after the second movie, and people already all know about him and everything. It's just a little crazy. And of course, we got that ridiculous scene. Some people don't find it ridiculous, but I do. When what's his name is in the basement screaming, "He's killing me! He's killing me!" While Jason is killing him. But I feel like nobody yells that out while they're getting killed. But aside from those little nitpicks, they're not really flaws or anything. This is a friggin' incredible horror movie, a great slasher, one of the best. The kills are amazing, Jason's amazing, the atmosphere's amazing. It's the full package. But for me, coming in the first place, I have to give it to Friday the 13th, Part 6, Jason Lives. This is like the rock star version of these movies. It's the first one that felt like it had a like almost like a blockbuster budget. It just goes bigger with stunts and stuff. It's funny, it has a great tone, but it doesn't go over the line in the comedy. It still stays true to the horror aspects. I love how it has a universal feel to it too, like Universal Monster, especially the way Jason is resurrected with lightning. So cool. And the look of him with maggots coming off and everything. Oh, so good. We get Tommy Jarvis, played by Tom Matthews this time, and this is my favorite version of Tommy. He's just so fun to watch, and him accidentally resurrecting Jason and trying to warn everybody, and keeps getting put in the jail and stuff like that. It's fun to watch him and the sheriff go on to each other, and him falling in love with the sheriff's daughter, which is another really great character. And like I said, with the stunts, there's one in here with an RV that crashes and goes on its side. It's something we never really seen before in the Friday the 13th franchise. Nothing this big, you know. It's mostly just like stabbings and stuff. But this, we got like a whole stunt action scene, which is awesome. I enjoy the kills in here, where that RV scene where he puts the girl's face through the metal wall, where he kills the girl in the cabin, and when they look in, it's just covered in blood from ceiling to floor. You're like, what happened? And this movie contains kids. Who would have thought at a summer camp that you'd actually have kids? It's like the only movie in here that actually deals with summer camp kids, and I'm like, why didn't they do this sooner, and why haven't they done this since? And Jason is actually undead in this one, like a zombified, so it just makes more sense the amount of damage he can take and keep coming back, like take shotgun shells and everything, and he just keeps coming almost like the Terminator. And I just love that aspect. And the whole ending, the way they get rid of him, the way they defeat him in the lake, put him back to where it all started, where he drowned. And I think that just makes the most sense for taking out Jason, right? They end up chaining him with a boulder. He fights back. He almost gets Tommy, but they end up defeating him in the end. And it's just such a fun movie, you know, right from the get-go when they're making fun of James Bond when he turns and does that James Bond little effect. So good. And like I said, this is like a rock star entry. We got all these Alice Cooper songs in that, and you just feel like a rock star watching this movie. I absolutely love it. I love Jason. I love all the kills. Some people don't like the paintball scene stuff, but I find it really amusing myself. And it's just a fun ride from start to finish. I feel like if someone's not really into slashers or horror movies and they want to watch one of these movies, Jason Lives would probably be the best one to show them. I think they would really enjoy it. It's highly entertaining and fun all the way through. So it easily comes in the first place in my ranking. So there you have it, guys. Here's my ranking of all 12 Friday the 13th movies. Hope you enjoyed it. I know for a fact we don't have the same lists. It's hard to run into anybody with the same ranking as me or anybody, you know. There's 12 movies, so the chances of two people having the same are very, very slim. And yeah, I highly enjoyed making this video for you guys, especially on Friday the 13th. What better time? And this also marks my 1-year anniversary on YouTube with this channel. I've actually been on YouTube 3 years, 1 month, if we're talking about in general. But on the movie ranker, this is my 1-year anniversary. So hope you guys had fun with this video. I know I did. Make sure to drop your rankings in the comment section. You can follow me on Letterboxd and Instagram. Links to those in the description. And until next time, guys, thanks for watching.